The Detroit Lions are 0-7 and fast-tracking their way to the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. And while that may seem like the silver lining in an otherwise lost season for Lions fans, I'm here to tell you the thing you really need to get excited about is your starting running back, DeAndre Swift. I'm Bryan Perez from the Draft Network, here to tell you why Swift is the real silver lining in an otherwise terrible season. Look, this isn't much of a surprise. Swift's emergence as one of the top dual-threat running backs in the NFL is kind of what was expected from him when he was a second-round pick out of Georgia last year. His rookie season wasn't the best. He had some injury issues, never really seemed to get going, never really looked like the guy that we saw dominate the SEC for a few seasons. But this year, it's been a completely different story. Right out the gate, from week 1 on, DeAndre Swift has established himself as arguably one of the top 2 or 3 dual-threat runners in the game. He already has 42 catches this season. He had only 46 all of last year. He's going to surpass that total in week 8, halfway through the year. He's going to be a guy who challenges for 80, 90, dare I say even 100 catches in year 2 of his career. He's playing with an absolutely atrocious quarterback in Jared Goff. So the fact that he's been able to produce at this level when opposing defenses know he's the beginning, middle, and end of the Detroit Lions offense is really impressive. So just think what Swift will actually be like a year or 2 from now when the Lions are able to settle their quarterback situation. Swift's numbers on the ground aren't great. He's only averaging 3.4 yards a carry. But again, if you look at the way the Lions passing offense has been developing or regressing or whatever the word is that you want to use for the clown show that is Jared Goff, he's only averaging 3.4 yards a carry, in part because opposing defenses know the quarterback they're facing is not going to throw the ball past 5 yards. So of course they can cheat, they can play the run, and Swift has really very little room to work with as a runner. But his real skill set is on display when he's able to get out in space as a receiver and make plays. Look what he did in week 7 against the Los Angeles Rams when he caught up a screen pass from Jared Goff and took it to the house for 63 yards. According to Next Gen Stats, 47 of those yards were above expected, meaning DeAndre Swift did that on his own. He turned what should have been maybe a 15 or 20 yard gain, nice chunk play, into a 63, 65 yard touchdown because of his field flipping ability. And this is really just like a teaser for what we're going to see from Swift moving forward. If you're a fantasy football player, you already know the value of Swift. The fact that he gets all these catches, the fact that he is a touchdown scorer early in his career, it's a real plus for a fantasy football manager. But if you're just a fan of the NFL in general, you got to circle Swift as a guy who is going to continue climbing the ranks of the NFL running back pecking order. And by the end of next season, once this team is one step closer to being a little bit better, Jared Goff might be out of town by week 9. But assuming that they do upgrade the quarterback position, they continue to build out that offensive line, you're going to see DeAndre Swift become a potential Pro Bowler and even better. We're talking about a running back, folks, who could be a top 5 player at the position within the next calendar year. So yes, it's a terrible year for the Lions. Of course, Lions fans are dealing with a coach who's talking about biting kneecaps in 1 month and then crying about a loss in another month. It's been a topsy-turvy, bizarre roller coaster of a year that's resulted in 0 wins in 7 tries. And honestly, if you look at the calendar, where's that first or second win going to come from for Detroit? So it's hard to hang your hat on anything positive, that optimism, that feeling of something to look forward to with this team. But number 32 in the backfield, he's that guy. DeAndre Swift has been such a pleasant surprise and is exceeding all expectations for a running back on a winless team. So kudos to Swift, who's only going to keep getting better as the season goes on. You can follow me over on Twitter at Bryan Perez NFL, and make sure you're checking back on thedraftnetwork.com for your daily NFL news and NFL draft analysis.